And my thoughts going into the game was the defense would be strong. If there's an advantage, Newburyport would have an advantage in the kicking game. Bodkevich has a good leg, and he was only a sophomore last year. And as it was, two of the first 3 plays were turnovers and resulted in touchdowns for Newburyport. Wow. Then on the third drive, Bodkevich kicks a 27-yard field goal, go up 15-0, and up 15-13. After that, the Linfield's defense stiffened up, and Newburyport's offense kind of dropped a little bit. But Newburyport, from what I saw, Webster looks like a real strong running back. Seamus Webster, powerful guy, but it didn't show much speed. I didn't see any real speed on the offense yet, as far as running go. But Murphy handled the ball well. He's got some good receivers. He's got 3 or 4 guys they can go to. So I think it's going to be an interesting season for the high school. Interesting. They're playing Ipswich tomorrow night, and Ipswich, they beat Essex Tech 44-36 or something like that. Some ungodly high-scoring game like that. And look at the roster of them. They're showing 27 guys that are freshmen and sophomores on their roster, only about 11 juniors and maybe 3 or 4 seniors. Wow. And Newburyport is a young team, too. Newburyport has only, I think they got 11 seniors, 6 juniors, and like 20 sophomores. So both young teams. But to score that many points, I don't know what Essex has, but it could be an interesting game tomorrow night at Ipswich.
Should be, yeah. That's interesting. It seems like all the Newburyport guys I talk to, there's a good energy around the program right now. I don't know if that comes from the coaching staff or what, but
well, I think we get a new change, and you got a local individual who has coached in the system, and they knew him from youth football and everything else, and because his dad had been around for many years, Tom Smolsky, so there's a lot of new enthusiasm generated, plus they kept the regular coaches that were there, so after having experience with Tom coaching many years with the team, and then Ben coming in after that, it's nice to see someone look. In fact, you look at all the coaching team you got in Newburyport now. You got Dave Clay doing basketball, local.
He's a great guy too.
Yeah, and he's done a good job. This year, basketball's going to look, they're going to be a fun team with McLaren, Casey McLaren.
Man, I could not believe when I heard he was only a junior.
Yeah.
I said, you get another year of him, you spoiled little coach.
But you see, he did a lot this year. He played that at Massachusetts Elite, played down in Florida, I was following that. It's going to be an exciting year. Going to have scouts all over the place.
Yeah, I bet they.
So that'll be fun.
Absolutely. We had him on the show one day, too. He's a very well-spoken kid, too, for high school level, so it's nice.
And his brother's a pretty good athlete too, right behind him.
Yeah, good player. A little bit more of a big man than Casey, I guess.
Well, Casey's big, but he's a good size for college. You know, a 6'4" guard. You know, at high school, most of the time that's going to be your center in a lot of cases.
Right.
But,
I was at one of those playoff games there. I guess it was the first round that they won. There was a big moment in the game, tie game with like 5 minutes left, and we were calling the game, and he makes a steal, and I wasn't expecting this. He throws down for a dunk, and I said, well, okay then. That has woken the place up here a little bit.
That'll do it in high school, one dunk like that. I remember all the years we were doing cable, and the very first dunk, that's when Tom Pecorelli, speaking of, Tom Pecorelli was involved with 9/11. He was killed in the first plane, but he was my cameraman, and he used to edit the games afterwards, and Mark Pulaski dunked the ball. It was the first time we had one on our cable for high school kids, and Pulaski dunked it. Wow. And Tommy went back and showed replay a couple of times, and we saw the ball go through. It was kind of exciting, but it does generate a lot of action with the crowd, get a lot of activity at that.
Absolutely. We were, Sarah and I were actually talking about Tom the other day, because it was the first show. It was 9/11. Yep. And that I did not quite realize that makes sense, though, that you would have been working with him.
He was my cameraman for 5 years, and he did all the editing afterwards. Did a great job.
Wow, it was very sad. He won an Emmy Award after, right?
Yeah, with Fox.
With Fox, and so it seemed very impressive. That's always a very tough day. I know there's so many local connections. Just every community, it seems, impacted by that in some way.
It was a shock, and I didn't even realize it until I got a call from the Daily News about 5:30 that afternoon. They wanted some stories about Tommy, and then I said, "What's up?" And she told me that. I didn't know at the time. No, it was a shock, I'll tell you. But he was a very smart kid. He had a lot going for him, and he knew what he was doing, and he loved what he was doing. Wow. That's the big thing about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think of him all the time.
I bet you do. There's other stories too about that. I was reading about, I've told you before, I'm a Providence guy. I root for the Friars, and I was reading that Cooley was supposed to be. He was actually at BC with Al Skinner at the time.
Okay, yeah.
And Cooley was supposed to be. He was trying to recruit this kid out of Georgetown. His name was Bowman. I don't know if you remember him.
I don't remember him.
Went on to play some European ball and everything. But long story short, the Bowman kid was deciding between Georgetown and Boston College, and Cooley said, "I think we got to meet him. You got to meet him in person. He's making the decision. It's coming down to one of the two. If you want him, we got to go talk to him." And Cooley and Skinner were supposed to jump on that flight 11 to go meet him on the West Coast. And the day before, he called and told them I'm going to Georgetown.
Wow,
So they canceled, which is crazy stuff like that. But
well, Tom wasn't even scheduled on that flight either, but he decided to stay an extra day. He was going back to California. He was home for something. He said, I think I'll stay an extra day to stay home with my family for an extra day.
Oh, I didn't
and just
know
booked
that.
it the next day. And yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
But strange thing how things work. Ironically, the following year, I was going to a wedding out in Austin, Texas. And I said to Kathy, my wife, I said, you know something? We got the wedding that week. I want to fly on September 1st. I says it's kind of a tribute to Tom, even though it's not the same flight he did.
Yeah.
But I wanted to do it. So we did, and only about 10 people on the plane. And we had to stop over in Cincinnati. And at 8:30 in the morning, they had a memorial thing. We were in the airport when they had the memorial.
Yep.
It was kind of a really something, but I felt nice being a part of that.
Yeah.
Just thinking that, and like I said, do you mind taking a trip that day? And she didn't mind it. But yeah, we sit wherever we want. Only 10 people on the plane.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was 17 years ago.
Well, it's nice, all the nice memories you have, and I'm glad we got to talk about him for a second. Back on the high school circuit here. So you got the football game tomorrow night, 7 o'clock kickoff.
7 o'clock kickoff at Ipswich, right?
Okay, so you and Win will be on the call. You guys still enjoying it? Back to your old form, you and Win Damon.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun doing with Win. Yeah, we enjoy the games, and then we're gonna have a special guest appearance the following week.
Oh, yes.
Hopefully.
I plan on being there. Yes, I do. I as I told you, I have to throw everything by my wife these days.
Yeah.
You know, she's
smart man.
She's got a lot of stuff on my plate, but I should be able to do it.
That'd be great.
Fun.
Yeah,
go up there with Win. If you take a rare night off, you miss very few of these things.
I think I've probably missed only 3 games that we've been doing since 1981 with cable that were scheduled.
Yeah,
all for. No choice in that. It was just something that came up that I had to do. But no, I enjoy doing the games. It gives me a chance to see them more than anything, you know, with everything else going on. But it's a lot of fun.
And what was your number? Somebody was asking me today. I was just talking with a buddy of mine, and they asked me who the guest was, and I explained who you were. And so what was that number of Thanksgiving? You've missed, like, was it 1 or 2?
I've missed.
A very low number.
I've missed 2 Thanksgiving games since 1953.
Unbelievable.
And one of them was because I had a broken ankle, and we were supposed to do the game for cable over in Amesbury, and my cameraman called me, and the night before his sister got sick, so they had to switch the Thanksgiving Day party to his house, so he couldn't get over to make it. And I was going to go over, but then I says, it's icy over there to go over in crutches, so I decided not. And I end up listening to it on the radio, and Win was doing the game, and I can remember as soon as the kickoff started, the tears coming down my eyes. I wasn't there. Then the other one was just a few years ago when they switched it from a Friday night. From Thanksgiving Day when it got snowed out in Amesbury, they switched it to Saturday, and I had another commitment, a seasonal commitment at that time, so I couldn't do it.
Absolutely. I had the Amesbury AD on here the other day, and I was asking him, because it's always interesting to hear. We talk a lot with the Newburyport guys and how much that rivalry means to them, and the Amesbury coaches were saying the same. There's just something, the whole coaching staff, I guess, feels that it's amazing the similar thoughts that go between. It's like they all realize that the alumni are there making side bets in the end zones. And
I teased about that fact he had called. He says, I'll never postpone a Thanksgiving Day game again. You won't believe all the grief I got on that one.
Oh, I bet. There's some traditions you just don't mess with, right?
We had one other time we played on a Saturday, and it rained out in Newburyport. Snow. It must have been rain. I don't know what it was. Rain or snow. It must have been snow because they would have played in rain.
Yeah.
And we had to play it on a Saturday. And I went to the game on Saturday. It was anticlimactic. It wasn't Thanksgiving.
Yep.
To me, Thanksgiving is Thanksgiving. The Thanksgiving Day game, that's the tradition. And I just come hell or high water, I'm going to be there. You know.
Absolutely.
And unfortunately, that was just that one time when they had to postpone it. And at the time, the field was bad. They just didn't have anybody clear the field off. And they couldn't. They had to postpone it. So that's only 2 times I remember Newburyport being postponed on Thanksgiving that I can remember, going back to 53. And like I say, since 53, I've only missed 2. So
unbelievable. Yeah, I remember. There's so many great memories. I mean, I remember I didn't even play football. I was playing golf in high school, but a bunch of my buddies were on the football team. I remember going, and the Danvers had never been really good. They're pretty good now, I think. But right my junior and senior year, finally the football program started to get good. And I remember thinking one of those Thanksgivings, it just snowstormed like crazy, and it was Danvers and Gloucester for the winner. Took the conference, and the winner would go to the playoff game. So it was a big game, and it was packed. We all got there early and all that stuff. My buddy had a big party. His mother threw it, brunch at the house right down the street, and we all walked over together, and it was just a great day. And I remember the town. Nobody thought they were going to be able to play the game because you couldn't see the field. There's so much snow. It had just snowed the night before. But I mean, they brought plows out, they literally, I think, hired the whole town of Danvers. Everybody who works for the town.
Town probably went out and worked on it too.
The whole town was out there, and the work that they did. I'll never forget watching them clear that field for that game, and then come kickoff, bright sunshine day. Like it was almost like the glare from the snow was so bright you almost had to wear sunglasses, you know. But and Danvers won on the final drive, and a slow comeback. So it's one of those high school memories I have, and I'm sure you remember quite a few of those.
Because Danvers, we were in the Northeast Conference. You know, always opened up Newburyport, always opened up against Gloucester.
Yeah.
The highlight of the Gloucester game was the ROTC band, and the drum major would go down and go up the goalpost, flip his baton, and catch on the other side of the goalpost, and that was kind of the highlight. And we had one game that was in the fog against Newburyport and Gloucester. A kid Newburyport swept around the left hand. I guess he got lost on the fog and scored the only score. No, that was Newburyport.
That was in Newburyport.
Then when Newburyport broke their long streak, Danny Sullivan scored the touchdown. You know, Newburyport had lost like 20 games in a row to Gloucester. Yeah. And the high school won that one. That's when they started going on their big winning streak in the 60s. But Danny Sullivan scored the winning touchdown. So, yeah, you remember those games. They always but Nate Ross, the legendary coach, was a great coach in Gloucester. And one thing it seems to me, I'm trying to think, it was either Gloucester or Swampscott, whatever it was, I always know the kids would line up and they'd wait till the national anthem because the cop would salute during the national anthem.
Oh, yeah?
And while he was saluting, the kids all ran in the gate. They didn't even free during the anthem. And I'm trying to think, it was either Swampscott or Gloucester, but that was kind of a tradition.
Myself, yeah. Well, Gloucester, though, I always remember about Gloucester is when I went to plenty of those Thanksgiving games on the road, too, bundle up because you're right on the water there in the end zone. Yeah. That wind gust can really pick up. Yeah. Crazy football atmosphere. That's why I was
good memories.
Absolutely, it's nothing better than that. Again, we're joined here by Richie Eaton talking about a variety of things here, as we always do. We veer off in all sorts of directions. How about those Red Sox? You saw them from spring training. We thought they might be good. Did we think they were going to be this good?
Well, they had the best record in spring training, and they look good coming out. But I mean, 100 wins already. I got to be their all-time high. I knew they were playing well, but I didn't know they'd be this good. Everything's clicked. And how about Phillips? Phillips comes in the one game he starts and he hits a home run to win the game, and you might think he's been there all year the way they all celebrated.
I know.
There's some magic with the team. You know, we talk about Morgan magic, but I think Cora's done a lot to do with that too.
Morgan magic. The kids are all confused now. You might have to explain that one.
But as far as with Cora, you know, sometimes I look at him, I say, why did he do that? But then he comes back and explains why he did it. I mean, the other night, you know, he's going to have Moholland pinch hit. Then last minute he changes and puts Holt up there. And you wonder what's going on, and then you realize Holt was like 5 out of 11 against his pitcher, and he hits a home run. And of course, it's kind of embarrassing to the batter sometimes when you're ready to hit and you almost on the batter's box, you pull him out. I mean, Ortiz got all upset one time when that happened when they did that to him.
So you know what I liked though is they showed that clip of him in the Cora in the dugout, and he's there explaining it to him. He pats him on the chest, and Moreland said, "Okay, I got you." Okay,
and that's what's good about the team. There's been a good thing. You know, it's kind of a thing. You got Martinez with a chance to get the Triple Crown. And who's going to be in his way? Betts.
Exactly.
Possibly break it.
I always think it's weird when they start chanting MVP for Betts, and then JD's probably thinking to himself, you know, I'm right there too.
Well, looking at it, I think offensively, JD's had a better thing. But you know, when you start taking the defense into effect and the base running, Mookie's got, you know, he can do so many more things.
I always say the best hitter I ever saw in my lifetime, and you know, I didn't get to see Yaz at all or anything. My uncle always tells me you never got to watch Yaz, you know, that sort of thing. But I always thought Manny was the best pure hitter I ever saw, and I don't know, JD's I think the best guy since him.
Yeah, that's interesting, you see, because I remember actually seeing Ted Williams play.
Yeah, I don't remember that one.
By the way, Ted Williams would have been 100 this year in August.
That's right.
But I can remember when Williams announced his retirement. I was having a bowl of cereal. I still remember this, and I got the Herald at the house. I don't know, it was the Herald, the American, or whatever it was called at the time.
So this is what year?
Ted's announced in 1960.
60, okay.
And I was 14 years old, and it says Ted announces his retirement. I started crying. Oh no, Ted Williams not going to play anymore, you know. But that was back in 1960. I got a chance to meet him one time.
Oh, did you? Pleasant experience?
Oh, it was great. I was coming back from a meeting in Orlando, and he was on the plane, and he was in first class. And I walked by and says, "Hi, Ted." He says, "Hi, kid." Like he calls everybody kid anyway.
Yeah. And how old were you at the time?
Oh, this was when I was at the bank. I was probably in my 50s, maybe even 60s at the time. Probably in my 50s. Yeah. And I just said hi to him, and then I'm standing in line, and he ended up standing next to me. We're waiting for the luggage to come, and we get talking, and I just didn't have the heart to just ask for his autograph, you know.
Yeah.
But I just talked to him about 15, 20 minutes. I did shake hands with him, and then his son was coming by, and I says, "Here comes John Henry." He said, "Oh, you know John Henry?" I said, "Well, I've seen him on TV." Yeah. He's about time he did something. He'd come back to get his luggage.
But
that was my only conversation ever with him. But I get plenty of Ted Williams baseball cards, and every time I have I have Moxie at the house, I think of Ted Williams all the time because he loved Moxie. He did commercials for Moxie.
Yeah, I remember that.
But that's one thing. I still have my Moxie at the house.
Who does he remind you of as far as star power? Because there was always that thing that he never tipped his hat. Was he like a beloved athlete? Obviously, he was the best press guy to play the game.
By the fans, but not by the press.
But not by the
So
the press was the real issue.
Yeah. And he said afterwards, you know, he regretted not having tipped his hat. And then when they had an alumni game or something, they were talking, and he says he pulled out his hat from under his jacket, and he says, "I tipped my hat to you fans, something I should have done back then."
Yeah.
So, but he got into a hassle one day. He ended up tossing a bat in the crowd, and it hit a woman.
Yeah.
But it happened to be Tom Yorkie's maid, of all people. So nothing was ever done of it, no suit or anything else. But, you know, he had a temper. He had a mouth on him that was not the best in the world, but you know, he was arrogant to the point.
Yeah.
But he knew what he was doing. He could do it. I was at the Louisville Slugger Bat Factory back about 4 or 5 years. We went to the Kentucky Derby, and we went over to Louisville Slugger, and talking to the guy who was talking about bats, and he says, "Yeah, we had Ted Williams here one time," and he said, "To show you what his eyesight, we had 10 bats out there. Yeah. One of them was a 16th of an inch off." And he picked the bat out of 10, just looking at it. He said, "That bat's not right. 16th of an ounce or something like that, or whatever it was." He could tell just by looking, just the feel of it. He says, "This one's not right," and that was it.
Yeah, and they said, I mean, the ball, eyesight. You could tell you could see the seams of the baseball and the specific rotations.
Yeah, he would say you can tell when you get the smell of the ball hitting the bat, the bat hitting the ball.
I got to tell you, I'm not sure. I've sat out there in the bleachers. I don't love sitting in the bleachers. I prefer a nice little infield grandstand seat personally, but that is a long way, that ball that they say. I mean, do we believe it? Yeah. Is that a little bit off, or what do we think?
Well, I think it was legit. I think so, because you see the balls are being hit now, because this was back, he hit it way back then. Yeah. But you know, it's funny, out at JetBlue Park, they actually have a red seat out there.
Oh, they do? Yeah, I didn't even know that.
But it's beyond the bleachers, because it doesn't go up as high as a regular one.
Really?
So it's actually beyond the right field bleachers. It's 102 feet away, and there's a red seat there with a sign saying this is where Williams hit the ball.
That's too funny. Yeah. Again, we're joined here by Richie Eaton. And Ted Williams, there's so many stories that I think are just fascinating. Never mind the fact that he took those years off in the prime of his career.
Imagine what his whole career would have been
in the war,
5.5 years.
Unbelievable. Yeah, I guess maybe that's I guess the good eyesight is a good thing for that particular job when you're up there. But
he could have got killed. He had that crash landing. He had to crash land the plane and everything else.
Yeah.
I went to the tribute in Boston at the Wang Center. It was just called a tribute to number 9, and at the speakers were John Glenn, George Bush, Bob Feller, those people there. And I had an occasion to talk to Bob Feller. I was at the Red Sox down at spring training. They had an old-fashioned day one time, and so Al brought me on the field. And this was right after Sportsman's Lodge, which is a lodge here in Newburyport that was owned by Andy Contos, who was good friends with Brooks Robinson.
Okay.
So Brooks would always, whenever he came to town, he always came to Sportsman's when Baltimore was in town. So Brooks was in the dugout, and I went by and I says, "Did you miss the Sportsman's Lodge?" And he beamed right up. He says, "Sportsman, you know about the Sportsman's?" And then we get talking. So he had invited me to come in. So I sat in the dugout talking with him, and all of a sudden Bob Feller come in. He introduced me to Bob Feller.
Wow.
So I'm sitting between Bob Feller and Brooks Robinson.
Oh, my goodness.
And Bob Fuller come by. He saw me. So Bob took a picture of it. I have a picture home. I never got an autograph, but it's me with Bob Feller and Brooks Robinson.
Oh, that's great.
And I mentioned to Feller that I was at the tribute to Williams at the Wang Center. And he said, "Oh, poor Teddy." He says, "I just saw him recently." Because, again, this is back a few years. And he says, "He's not doing good. He just had a stroke and everything else. But he was quite a guy. We had some good battles back and forth. But he spoke highly of him. But it's funny how small world, just start with that Sportsman's Lodge thing. And all of a sudden, I'm talking to Bob Feller and Brooks Robinson.
Yeah, I think I would have been 12 at the time the All-Star game came to Fenway.
Okay.
So it was back in '99. So I was young and a baseball guy, so of course I knew all about Ted Williams. But for some reason, I remember it hitting me that night when all those players just dropped everything. Every star of the game just dropped everything and went to the mound, and they just wanted a piece.
And the PA's trying to clear the field off, and no one wanted to leave. They stayed right there.
For some reason, that stuck with me, and I said, "Man, this guy was more than just a great. This guy was transcended the game."
Here's a side to that one too, because I was at that game with Bob Fuller and Al, and I had also bought 2 tickets, so my 2 sons came with, but they sat 2 sections over.
Yep.
Well, Scott, my middle son, he has Steve Eiserman was his favorite hockey player, and Eiserman was at the game. He sat 1 row next to me, and he's signing autographs between innings.
Yep.
So I actually called Scott. That was before we had text, I think. And I said, "If you want to get Eiserman's autograph, you can come on over and do it." And he said, "Really?" So he came over. Scott was 20 years old, so this was 20 years ago. Because Scott's just turned 40.
It's crazy, huh?
And he says, "Would you mind signing my autograph?" He signed the autograph. Then Scott pulled out some stubs from 4 or 5 years prior to that, the stubs between the Red Wings and Bruins games. So he just signed them.
He's lucky he had them on.
And he carried them as a souvenir.
Wow.
So he signed them. And then Brendan Shanahan was the other one. The two of them, those were two players he used. In fact, he used those two. And Scott named his cat Stevie after Steve Yzerman.
Wow.
I just noticed Yzerman just resigned as general manager of Tampa.
Lightning, yeah.
He wants to spend more time at home.
Yeah. So
Again, how funny how we talk in one story, it leads to another. Like that. I thought we'd be talking hockey.
You dropped Baltimore, and I was going to say how disappointing it is to see the Orioles. It's such a great baseball. Yeah. It's funny. I always have heard that they're a great baseball town, and there's this one guy at work who's a big baseball guy, and he goes, I got to tell you, that's all overblown. That whole Baltimore's a great baseball town. They got a great ballpark. They got a good cult following of fans. But I remember when they were good, they never used to sell out that old place. You know? So I don't know. I think it's always a good baseball take when I do that Baltimore trip a lot. I enjoy it.
In fact, we haven't done it, but Kathy and I were talking about this year. We went to the first 4 games of the season to Tampa.
Yep.
And we enjoyed that. So we're talking to
you and Dick Vitale.
We'd like to do Vitale. That's right. That's he's got season tickets there.
Yeah.
But we were talking about maybe doing a series in Toronto and a series in Baltimore because you always get tickets for those games anyway.
Yeah.
But it was kind of nice. We enjoyed it. So we'll do that.
Have you done Toronto?
I've been to Toronto, but not to see the games.
Nice, yeah.
I was there 2 summers ago. In fact, we went didn't go into the stadium. We were outside the stadium. They got banners all around it and everything. It's kind of nice.
That is cool.
So that's the thing we're looking at probably the next year or the year after. Check the schedule and do a weekend or a series in Toronto and a series in Baltimore.
Yeah, actually Tampa's the one place I have not done. I've done the rest of the AL
now they
East.
built a new stadium in Tampa, and I'm sure it's going to be indoors, but the capacity is going to be less than Fenway.
Wow.
Because they said we don't have a big following. What's the sense of putting a whole bunch of seats in?
Just too bad.
Plus the demand will get there. With less seats, you're going to get more of a demand if they stop playing good.
And they battle those teams too. Tampa Bay. I mean, I thought they were going to have a real rough road at the beginning of the year. I think the Sox had their way with them early on.
The Red Sox took 3 out of 4, even though they lost the first game.
And now you got Kevin Cash, who's got those guys together. And I mean, they're not. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but they're actually talking about how they're in the mix. Those guys believe they can make a run. So
they're playing real good.
They are. So it's good for them, especially when it's. I think it's going to be tough showing up and not playing in front of anybody. Well,
yeah, and the people are there usually for the other teams.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, how about all the fans from Houston that showed up at Fenway?
Oh,
they get tickets.
Well, I actually heard the backstory on that with the Texans in town on the Sunday. Yeah. There was this like months in advance. This company, when tickets went on sale, there's this like one company in Houston that's a major and bought this massive block, knowing the demand would be there, and so people just had a big weekend. Patriots and Astros at Fenway, and
it was a good weekend. We won them all. Actually, baseball. Houston won. At least the Red Sox won the last game.
Yeah, the Sunday was good all around. Yeah, good way to end it. Yeah. But again, we're joined here by Richie Eaton, and oh my goodness, Richie, look at that time again getting ahead of me. Let's take our first break here. This tends to happen with you and I, Richie. I always lose track of time, and next thing I know, I got to get going here. So we'll take our first break. Much more with Richie Eaton when we get back. Lexi Foley producing, David Kramer on the TV side. My name is Drew Moholland. Keep it here. More Afternoon Drive in just a moment. All right, welcome back to Afternoon Drive here on WJOP Radio. My name is Drew Moholland. Happy Thursday afternoon to all of you out there. Very close to the weekend here, so you are almost there. I actually woke up Richie Eaton, our guest here today. I actually woke up today, Richie, thinking it was Friday. Is there anything worse than that when you think it's Friday, but it's not Friday?
Yeah, then you got another day to go besides.
It's like I got to work on Saturday now. It's unbelievable. I was not happy about this.
I'll tell you, when you retire, you lose the days. You don't know what day it is, I'll tell you. Many times I have to look at my calendar now to see what day it is.
Is that right?
It happens, I'll tell you.
Yeah, certain
then
days,
you know you're retired.
Yes, I guess so. Certain days have the feel, though, right? Like the Sunday Patriots Day.
Wow.
Like the Pats playing. Doesn't Sunday feel different or something?
Oh, yeah. And we leave, we always leave the house around between 7:15 and 7:30 to get the game on the home game so we can tailgate and get in the right parking
For
spot.
a 1 o'clock game, yeah.
Yeah, and normally the gates open at 1. I mean, at 1 o'clock for 4 o'clock game, and it basically it's 4 hours before the game. So at 9 o'clock it would open. Yeah. So we leave early, and there's a Napa Auto Parts on Route 1. We park there, and then we get on our phone. We get a text saying Gillette Stadium, the gates are open. So we got there about 8:30, and all of a sudden, at 25 minutes of 9, I get the beep, gates are open. Well, it's a good thing we're there early because to get in the parking lot where we are, I have a handicap pass because of my back and my knees. And so as a result, we can get in there. But there aren't that many handicap spots. Yeah. So if you get in there, if we went in there at 9 o'clock, we would not have been able to get in the regular parking lot. Wow. And they put you in an off parking lot. And sometimes it takes an hour to get out of that parking lot. Wow. But into the handicap lot where we went, I was home at 6 o'clock. We stayed to the end of the game, and I was still home at 6 o'clock.
Got right out of there?
But, yeah, right out. And, we set up the tailgate. We tailgate, and when it's bad, we'll put the tent up. If it's not bad, we'll leave the tent. We don't bother with the tent. And we get flaps. And then when it gets real cold, we put the heaters on. We got the iPads. If we're at a 4 o'clock game, we'll watch the 1 o'clock game. It's great. And I'm there usually with my 3 sons and myself, so the 4 of us are there. And we make a day of it. But we're home by 6 o'clock. The night games are tough. I don't mind a Sunday night game, but the Monday and Thursday games are no fun.
I went to the. Do you remember the year when Brett Favre came to Foxborough with the Vikings? Remember that? It was
when Favre was with the Vikings.
Okay. So probably was that 8 years ago? It was maybe longer now. But whatever the game was, it was the big 4:25 start. And that game was such a long game. I remember it got cold, and it was a good game, but it was cold. It was close. There was injuries.
Yeah,
there was
it always drags it out.
It was, and a game ended just really late for a 4:25 game. It had to be pushing 8 o'clock, probably beyond. Right. And I remember
almost like a Red Sox Yankee game.
Exactly. Yeah. But so I'm working at BZ, the 3 a.m. shift, and I figured a 4 o'clock game. Yeah, I can do that. Get home in a reasonable hour. Sure, I'll make it work. By the time we got to the parking lot, got out of the parking lot, hit Route 1 traffic, which was terrible on that day. And I was only going back to Brighton at the time. I was living in Brighton. Yeah. By the time I got back to my apartment in Brighton, and I said, this is unbelievable. I don't have time to sleep. Right. Yeah. I couldn't believe it. Yeah. It was a 4 o'clock football game, and it was crazy.
Yeah, I don't mind the 4 that much, but I don't like the 8 o'clock games at all.
Can a normal person stay up and watch the 8 o'clock game? Can a normal 9 to 5 worker watch the 8 o'clock game? I mean, I know I can't with my.
I do. When I was working, that was like a Monday nights I hate, especially when I was working at the bank. We had a board meeting on Tuesday mornings. If I was at the game, then I had by the time we get home, it's almost time to go to the meeting. At 8 o'clock board meeting, But I stay up. That's because I'm an idiot sometimes when it comes to sports. I stay up when the Red Sox on the West Coast to watch all the games.
Yeah, I mean, I used to do that too, but I can't do it with the 3 a.m.s pushing it. I can't do it. Although sometimes,
you go to work a lot early. That's true.
Sometimes actually, it's a lot of fun. If the West Coast game goes long enough, I'll get up a little bit early for my shift and catch the end of the ball game, which is nice.
It was an experience. We were in Hawaii one time, and the Patriots are playing on a Thursday night. What's it, 3 o'clock in the afternoon? We're watching the game in Hawaii. 3 o'clock. This was great.
Not a bad way to watch a football game.
I remember that game. That was when the Patriots went overtime and they lost to the Jets. Yeah. And I called my kids on the cell phone between the fourth quarter and the overtime as well. Looks like you guys are going to be there a while. Then I got a text right afterwards. Not as long as you thought. The guy ran the kickoff back for a touchdown. Patriots lost.
That is too funny.
But it was kind of nice. 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Here you are watching the game live.
Yeah.
Oh, that was good.
That is great. I always think it would be cool to live I would never. I'm an East Coast boy, so I'll never live on the West Coast. But I do have a lot of buddies who have moved out there, and they do say there's just something very, very cool about waking up at, you have brunch at 9 in the morning, and you're watching football at 10. 1 o'clock football
that's
games.
Good. Yeah,
they enjoy that brunch and football.
Yeah, it's kind of nice being out there during that time. A lot of times we go out and we maybe go to Vegas or something, and it was during the baseball season.
Yep.
The playoffs. You got the football, you got baseball going on, and watching the games going. It's exciting.
Yeah, my cousin was in Vegas for last year's Super Bowl, and he went to a work party that was heads from all around the country. So not it wasn't a lot of New England people. It was either maybe a few Philly people, a few New England people, and the rest were just random. And he said, you really see what success does to a team, because every single person besides the few New England fans, like 5 of them, everybody was on Philadelphia, pushing for Philadelphia.
Oh, yeah.
He said it was a tough room to watch a game in Vegas.
When we went out to when the Patriots played Green Bay in '96 in the Super Bowl,
it didn't go too well.
I went to the one in '86 when they played the Bears, and at that time the tickets were only $75 a piece, and they were selling tickets at the gate.
Yep.
So when it came to '96, I took my 2 oldest boys with me. I said, we'll try to buy tickets at the gate,
Yeah.
Well, they were turning down $1,250 for a $200 ticket at kickoff.
No
Kickoff, $1,250. They're turning it down. Of course, I wasn't offering that much money, but so we ended up watching it in the pub. And at the time, there were 60 people in the pub, and only 10 of us for the Patriots.
Wow.
But the Green Bay fans were great. We had a good time. We were passing stuff back and forth, buying drinks and food back and forth. They were good.
It's like you have an extra $1,200 in your pocket for the bar.
The money back. And an interesting thing was we're in one of the hotels before the game, and they all had gift shops, and I was there with my 2 sons and Larry Toomey, and Evander Holyfield was there all by himself.
Wow.
And he's looking at some stuff, so I could talk to him, ask if we could have a picture with the 2 boys. So he gets in the middle and takes his picture with the boys. And the guy who was next to us said, "Who's that?" I said, "It's Evander Holyfield, the heavyweight champ."
Yeah.
This was before he had his ear bit off.
Yes.
And he said, "Really?" So he goes, "Hey, champ, anything you want, you can take. It's on the house."
Wow, very cool.
So, but he was very cordial and everything else. So that was something come out of the trip anyway. Since the kids couldn't see the game, they still remember Holyfield talking to him.
Evander worried me later in life when he was thinking about making that comeback at age, 48 or 49, maybe older, 52.
Well, because the caliber of boxing wasn't that great back after that.
That is true.
Yeah.
The boxing in my lifetime is, well, I guess maybe you could argue that the Tyson Holyfield stuff was kind of the last hurrah, but in my lifetime, my dad always tells me, he goes, "You don't know what good boxing's like. I grew up with this stuff."
Marciano, Dempsey, and all those. Yeah.
Yeah. Now it's all tactiful, and you get the what's his name there, Mayweather. Mayweather is kind of a boring fighter.
Yep.
But I don't know. I never really get in too much into the boxing.
Yeah, Ali always interested me, obviously, watching him fight, and that's when he first started, when he changed his name and all the poems and everything else. It was exciting, kind of watch him, and he turned out great. And that was another thing we talked about when we went to Kentucky, the Muhammad Ali Museum.
Yeah.
That's a great museum in Kentucky.
Is it? Yeah. Okay.
That was really nice. So that was a nice trip we took, and able to see both that and the Louisville Slugger factory.
A lot of basketball fans out there, too.
Oh, they go wild up there, yeah.
I was in college. I remember there was this, I went to school in Rhode Island, like I said, and there weren't too many Kentucky folks there, needless to say. But there was this one girl who I became friendly with, and she had the Kentucky accent, which I always used to laugh and make fun of her for. But we had a public speaking class, and she goes up, and you had to introduce yourself and say something fun. And she said, she goes, "I'm from Kentucky, and there we do basketball and fried chicken." I thought that was always good.
Yeah.
I can't even mimic her accent. It's I don't have a Texas accent in me, I guess, but that was very, very. I mean, a Kentucky accent, but it was very
fried chicken and basketball.
There you go, which is true out there. But again, we're joined here by Richie Eaton. It is Afternoon Drive. Oh, I should say Lexi Foley producing our radio show here today. I guess you should wave to you got family watching. There you go. They like to know where you are. There you go.
Hey.
She's there. Now you're in the shot. Good for you. Yeah. Now everybody knows she's hanging out with us here for the day on a Thursday afternoon. And you got football here tomorrow night. Richie will be on the call with Wynn Damon. I haven't seen Wynn in a little while. We're kind of in opposite worlds here. Wynn's doing well.
Yeah, doing well. I talked to him. He got the roster for Ipswich for this week for me, and last week he got the Linfield one. He has it all ready for me, so I can pick it up and everything else. And he looks good. Yep.
Good preparation guy. That's good.
Yep. Yeah.
I did see him. We kind of work in opposite worlds here at the station. He does the mornings. I do the afternoons. But I did see him. He was walking this way the other day, and I drove by, and I saw him at the last second and said, "Hey, Wynn!" But I don't think he heard me. But hello, Wynn.
He's a great guy.
He is. And
a lot of fun doing the games. Well, he's been doing it for over 20, 25 years,
Yeah.
and I've been doing
22.
probably the last 7 or 8 with him, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, doing them with him.
Gotcha.
Other than that, when I was doing just a cable before I was doing that, I'd come in at halftime and just give him halftime stats.
Yeah.
But him and I together, I think we've probably been doing about the last 7 or 8 years anyway.
Yeah, for me, we're talking off the air here a little bit, but this is like my favorite time of year when it gets a little bit cool.
Yeah.
You get the football, you get the postseason baseball coming into play for the pros. I love it.
I always look at this starts my year. I look at September 1st starts my whole year. You know, September, October, November is football season. Then you got December and January. You got hockey and basketball.
Yep.
February, March, spring training into April. Then May and June, July, kind of take it easy.
Yep.
August will be go on vacation and start back in again. You know. So I look at my calendar. Starts September anyway, like the school year.
You got a lot of the you got a growing family these days too, right? So you got the Disney trip. You guys doing that this year?
No, we did it last year, 2 years ago. Yeah, last year what happened was
2 years ago already?
It was 2 years ago for the Disney trip, but last year when my son Scott brings that car down to Florida, he drives it down.
Yeah.
Then he comes back and picks it up and drives it home. So the 2 grandchildren came with him. So we spent 3 days over at Busch Gardens in Tampa.
Oh, nice.
So we drove over to Tampa. Then Kathy and I flew home from Tampa after the series.
Nice. The Disney experience is wild.
Oh, it's great. You know, I'll tell you, when you go there, you got to do the Avatar ride.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't know you guys were gonna like that at all.
Which one's that?
Avatar.
Yeah.
It's a great ride, and it's in the Animal Kingdom.
Okay.
And we got there. The park basically they'll open the gate around 8 o'clock or so. We got to the park, and it was 8:45, and the exhibit itself doesn't even open until 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
We're in line, and we're at the 2.5-hour mark at 8:45 for that ride.
Wow.
So we stood in line for 2.5 hours.
No way.
And got into the ride. It lasted about 15 minutes. And I tell you, I would stand in line again. It was that
Really?
good ride. And I'm not big on
what is
rides. It's Avatar, and it's simulate what they did in the movie and everything else. And you're in this cart. They strap your feet in. They strap your arms in. You got a helmet, the whole bit. And you feel like you're riding like whatever vehicle they used back then. You're going in between things. It's speed and everything else. And it's exciting. I held my breath. In fact, I closed my eyes a couple of times. I thought I was going to crash into something.
I'm a complete wimp with that stuff. I don't know. I don't like anything where I have to strap on a helmet there, Richie.
I'm not really too big on those, and I had no idea what to expect for the ride.
Yeah.
But I said, we're going to stay here for 2.5 hours. I'm going to try it. And I really enjoyed it. I would go back again on that one.
That's funny.
But that's in Animal Kingdom. But the guy that was behind me in line, because now the reason the lines are so long, you can basically book a ride 60 days in advance.
Yep.
So he knew he was going to be there, and he was going to be there for an entire week. It was the 5th day of his stop that he could actually get in line, and he still had to wait in line.
Wow.
But once because he had the pass, so once the gates open, he can go into the fast lane, so it would have been easier for
What's
him.
the play on that? Do you go on like a rainy day? Is that the
Well,
can you
because
get away from some
we
lines,
had basically we were there for 2 weeks, so we kind of spread it out.
Yeah.
I didn't want to stay in Disney because then you almost committed that whole week for Disney.
Yeah.
So we did like 3 days in Disney. Then went over to Universal, did SeaWorld,
Nice.
and spread it out. But when it's rainy weather. I don't know. It's really not that great in rainy weather there.
It's probably better when
it's tough, everybody out with their slickers and everything else. All of a sudden you see all the Magic Kingdom ones or wherever you happen to be, or Universal. They must make a mint in all the slickers they sell, or the
Oh, I'm sure they do.
rain gear.
I remember that Aerosmith ride they have at one of the
Yes,
the roller
I just
coaster-
won that. But
All right, so this is like I said, I'm a wimp. I should not be doing these rides. But my wife and I were waiting on my nephew who was a little bit behind. I forget if they were just at the hotel or. Long story short, we had like an hour or two to kill by ourselves before the young guy got there. We were going to spend time with him, and so I don't know. We had a beer or two, apparently feeling a little courageous, and we said Aerosmith Boston band. All right, take a picture of the ride. Let's do it. We'll do the ride. We heard everybody said, like, including some of the adults, not that bad. You guys will be fine. Unbelievably scary. I'm very scared.
Yeah, I
never
passed on those. But interesting, you mentioned that ride. The time we were over there with the boys, we were sitting down in the restaurant, and 2 tables over was Steve Tyler. He was actually sitting at the restaurant at the time.
No way.
He says, "Hey, there's Steven Tyler."
Checking out his ride?
Because I didn't know who he was. I wasn't in music much then,
Yeah.
I didn't know who he was, but the kids did. They knew right off who it was.
That is funny.
And so they asked, "Is that Steven?" Yep, that's him. Yeah.
He's got some stories. He lives on the South Shore, I believe, because a few people I work with see him every year getting the Christmas tree. At this, and I guess for some reason, it's very notable because he does it very quickly.
Yeah.
But it's him. He does it.
It's
he
tradition.
It's tradition.
I'm big on tradition, so that's good. That's good to see these things happen.
So he shows up at the little Christmas tree farm, and for some reason, I guess he's picking up trees for, I don't know, maybe he's got a big house and needs a couple, but he's usually getting a couple trees.
All right.
So he gets out of the car, runs in the back, and everybody's kind of watching him. And I guess every year he shows up, spends about 10 minutes, goes, grabs the trees, throws them in the big truck, and jumps
Away
in,
he goes.
waves, and we'll see you, which is pretty funny. Rock stars do it just like everybody else.
That's good to see. They're human too.
It's all you think about the rock star life, and he's got to be 70, right?
Oh, he's going to be my age or a little. I'm 72. I might have a year or two on.
But I mean, still touring, and he's hitting high notes and
high notes.
Yes, that's right. I guess so. But yeah, it's crazy how some of those guys. I think like the Rolling Stones and all that. All these bands are like just consistently touring. And,
it's funny when you watch Jeopardy, and all of a sudden you see the questions, and they talk about how old these people are now, and I say, my gosh, they're that old. And well, yeah, sure, I'm not, I remember when it first started, but you don't realize it. Interesting, just happened to notice how, Burt Reynolds passed away last week. And a lot of times I watch Gunsmoke and everything else, and I don't know if you realize that or not, but Buck Taylor was Burt Reynolds. Yeah. His real name was Buck Taylor. Yeah. And that's the name he went by. He was on Gunsmoke for many years. Wow. So in fact, I just watched it today, and here he was. I said, oh my God, there's Burt Reynolds,
an interesting
Buck
career,
Taylor,
didn't he?
He had some great movies.
He did.
Boy, he looked frail at the end, though, didn't he?
He did, yeah. Gosh. I don't think that surprised me because I didn't. A lot of these people, you realize that they're in rough shape, and it's coming. But I hadn't heard Aretha. That. I had not heard that with Burt Reynolds. So that was too bad to see. But
and Aretha, when she passed away, we were on the bus out on a tour, and they played. One day we had about an hour of just her music on the bus, which is kind of nice,
Yeah,
a tribute to her. Yeah.
I went to the Counting Crows the night after she passed away. Oh, they were in Mansfield. Yeah, and they had the opening act, which is a band called Live that some people might know. But Live got off, and you had the 20 minutes or so in between Counting Crows, and it was just a straight Aretha. And it was funny because usually, everybody kind of goes to the concession stands or goes to the bathroom in between, and it was a much bigger crowd staying and just kind of singing and taking it all in. So that was kind of a cool gesture, I thought.
Speaking of entertainers, Topsail Fair is celebrating 250th anniversary.
Oh, is that right?
It's either 200 or 250, whatever it is. But it's the first week in October, and Chubby Checker is going to be out there again this time. The year I was chairman of Yankee Homecoming, the concert we had at the high school, Chubby Checker was the performer. Wow. We had him here. So last time he was at Topsail Fair, we went out to it, so we'll probably plan on going out again to see him when he's there.
Do you try to get over to the fair there once a year?
Once a year. We usually go over and take the kids because they go on the rides, and usually it used to be a Wednesday afternoon because the banks used to close Wednesday afternoon. Now they don't, but it's usually the Wednesday we'll go over and spend the time there.
Yeah, I like to do it with again, I don't do too many the rides or anything. Usually I walk through and do.
Well, I take the kids on, not me.
Yes, exactly. So and I don't have kids yet, so I don't get over there as much. But it is in my backyard. I'm always tempted to just go make an appearance.
Now I'm talking grandchildren, by the way.
Grandchildren, yes. The other one. You ever been to the Freiburg Fair up north?
I've been there once a long time ago, but that's a pretty good one too. I understand. Yeah, but the Topsail Fair. We used to go to Topsail when I was a kid. And they used to have the dog racing there before Seabrook opened up. And then we'd always stop at the what's the restaurant there? Agawam for a piece of lemon pie after the fair. And I went over to Agawam. My grandson had my granddaughter had a softball game over there this year, so we stopped over there and went to the Agawam and ate and had a piece of lemon pie afterwards. Still just as good.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, it's the Agawam diner.
You're going to get over to, speaking of the racing, not that they have the racing, but it is a gambling thing. You're going to get over to the Encore Casino at all? You do the...
Well, that one will open up next year. That's going to open next year. The one in Springfield is open.
Springfield's already open,
Yeah, MGM. We'll probably check that out, see what it's like anyway.
My new work is in Medford, so I have a beautiful view of the Encore.
All right, Encore, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like it's coming along there.
Encore, I think that's the name of the one that Wynn has the second one out in Vegas. I think they call it Encore there. I think that's what it is. Just like I said, a Wynn 2 or something like that. But I think they call it Encore there. I'm not sure, but I think it might have been.
Cool.
But anyway, I understand it's coming along pretty good. I haven't been out to Boston lately.
From the outside, it looks finished. I don't know what they're doing inside, but look, I guess, I forget what date it was that they said, but
next spring, I think, or something. Yeah. I'll try it out. I enjoy going there once in a while. Not too often, but just to go out and see what's going on. Usually some good shows. I'll tell you, just as a sideline, I just bought tickets last night for Cher. She's going to be April 30th out in Springfield.
Wow.
And we bought tickets, my wife and I and a sister and husband, so the four of us are going out to see Cher.
Nice.
What a great show. I saw her when she had her first show in Caesar's Palace.
Oh, wow.
It happened to be... we were at a conference in August, going to be there in October, and I saw an ad in the paper in April, and I saw it, and I looked, I said, that's the dates we're going to be out there. I immediately called and bought tickets for it. So while we're out there, we get tickets, and we get tickets so early. We're in the 2 rows in front of Siegfried and Roy, and that was when Roy made his first appearance after being mauled by the tiger. It was his first appearance. Barry Manilow and Neil Diamond rows behind us, and that's how early we got the tickets. Wow. What a great show she puts on. So we're looking forward to that.
Oh, that should be great.
Just happened to make the phone call yesterday. Yeah.
Good, and there you go. go.
Yep.
All right. Well, enjoy that. And
Yeah, she puts on a great show.
I've never seen her. That's good to hear. The
She's going to be in
obviously a
Boston.
legend.
This is a Tuesday night. We're going to go April 30th, but I think the 28th she's going to be at the Garden in Boston too. So if you're looking for tickets,
Nice.
it'd be a good surprise.
Will
for
you be
and your
there
wife.
too?
No, we'll just do the one on the 30th.
Not at the moment.
I don't know why I tried to do that one first because I didn't realize she was going to be in Boston until after I got the ones for Springfield.
Well, sometimes a little road trip is nice, right?
It doesn't hurt.
Well, Richie, we've flown by again. A pleasure as always. It was a blast.
I enjoy doing this. It's a lot of fun.
We covered a million topics today. I think that might even be a record for us. I'm not even sure. But yes, enjoy the call tomorrow night.
All right.
Should be a fun football game. If you can't go to the game yourself, that's where you want to be.
Yeah.
Right here and listening in to Win and Richie call a little Newburyport football. Should be another exciting year and good stuff tomorrow night. Again, Lexi Foley, thank you on the radio side. David Kramer producing on the TV side, and we'll have you back again soon, Richie. That was a blast as always.
Sounds great, Drew. Glad to be here. Enjoy it.
Enjoy the fall.
All right. Thanks.
We'll see you guys next Tuesday. Have a great weekend. It seems to be a lot going on. It's fall gets busy around here. It gets those final weekends before the dreaded winter. So be safe, have fun, do whatever you're doing. Hopefully, it would be nice to get outside and have a great weekend, everybody. My name is Drew Moholland. This has been Afternoon Drive on WJOP Radio.
Java steam rising up. This. Saying
this is Ginny Salem from the Salisbury Council of Aging, and you're listening to WJOP LP Newburyport, Joppa Radio 96.3 FM.
Joppa Radio 96.3 FM would like you to know the Boys and Girls Club of the Lower Merrimack Valley in Salisbury offers education and health programs, sports and recreation, and after-school enrichment programs. See bglmv.org for details.